enabled our customers to have millions in revenue opportunities based on the content we've created and the social media engagement we've had. We've helped companies save hundreds of thousands in hiring costs by being the marketing partner and team that they could never have hired at scale, but they have the full access and capability of that team they could never have hired. No customer cares that we use technology, but what they do care about is getting really good content, really good engagement, ongoing nurturing at a really good value point for pricing, where they don't feel like they have to do it, they don't have to worry about it, but they know they're getting more of it faster, and it's really good. Welcome to the S Factor. My name is Thomas Helfrich, and I am the founder's double, maybe triple, secret marketing weapon. I work with passionate founders, ambitious entrepreneurs, and pioneering startups. And my success factor is, well, I actually give a shit about them, their brand, and their customers.
Hello, Thomas. Good morning, and welcome to the S Factor. How are you today?
I'm delicious. Thank you for asking. I'm
Okay.
Thank you for having me on too.
Perfect. We're glad that you're here today. And right off the bat, I want to talk about instantly relevant. So tell us about the business, how you got started. What was the first thing which sort of drove you to form this business?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. I think what you guys are doing is fantastic, and I'm honored to be here. You asked me 3 questions, so you're going to have to repeat them as I forget to answer them. But instantly relevant is, we eliminate the time suck and financial sinkhole of cliche traditional marketing. Like that's what we do for passionate founders, ambitious entrepreneurs, and kind of pioneering startups. That's where we focus. And the reason is because the customers we have really know we actually, I won't say the word on your show, we actually give an S, because we are one as well. We understand what they want, and we understand how to kind of help them be different to be better. And I started this company a few years ago now, because in my professional career, no matter what the role was, as a consultant, as an advisor, as a technology leader, or whatever else, I was spending always more time trying to create content and get it published and get it noticed within the companies and corporations. And it took forever. I mean, it never came out with the tonality of how I intended it. And it was really expensive for the companies to produce content and engage with it. And I looked at it, my expertise is originally in intelligent automation. And I looked at it and I was like, man, I can apply the principles of intelligent automation, where you take technology plus a human in the right moment and you accelerate a process and a human. And I thought, this is a perfect candidate. There's got to be a better way. And so I launched it. And since then, from a few thousand to 172,000 people on LinkedIn, and from 30 hours a week in social media down to maybe an hour. My journey was to do exactly this for myself. And then I said, well, I'm going to offer this as something, an offering, a service for other founders and entrepreneurs who feel the exact same time crunch, unscalability of their social media and content creation and ongoing engagement with their customers and nurturing world. That's why I created it, because I needed the problem solved for me, and every founder on the planet I've met has needed it as well.
Excellent. Yes, that is so true. So I am a career consultant. I help people, find the right jobs. How can your company help me?
As a career coach and consultant? So yeah. The typical use case is when you're an initial founder, you're just getting going, or your business, you're kind of cash crunched, and you don't have time to really quite yet outsource or really blow up your content creation and social media. I'm talking like hundreds of pieces of content a month. Like, you couldn't do that as an individual when you're full time. When you are doing it initially, you got to do it yourself, because you got to find your own voice, your customer's voice. You have to know what your differentiators are. You really need to put the hard work in to figure out what works, what doesn't. And then once you have it and you're ready to scale, that's when we help you. We come in and we take over the creative process for you with your approval of all the content. And that can be from sales decks, pitch decks, sales collateral, posts, blogs, art, whatever, logo, whatever you need, really. Like the things that need to be created, we'll do that for you with your input. We take your business goals, your visions, your objectives, and we embed those into your customer's voice into the content we create and the things we do, so it resonates way better. The second area, what we would do for you is really take over your social media management. So you're not in it every day, networking, and you're not having to respond to every little thing. And engaging in the audiences you want to be in as you. Like as we speak right now, my teams are out there networking for me. They're creating content. They're setting inbound calendars. They're getting me in conversations, finding podcasts for me to go on, all while I'm working and doing other things that are higher value. And the third thing we would do for you is that ongoing nurturing of your prospects and customers. So treating them both, treating a current customer like a prospect, sending them things they care about that have nothing to do with what you sell. We get out there and we make sure that they feel valued, they feel like a human, they feel nurtured, like a person would want to feel it. So, and you don't have to do any of that. It's a giant freedom of your time, so you can work on way bigger things on your business. You can raise your executive eminence. You can do all the things you need to do to become a leader of your company and grow it and scale it and really make a big play out of it.
All right. So take us behind the scenes of Instantly Relevant, right? Am I imagining a huge office with 200-300 people just, creating content, engaging with customers?
No air conditioning.
No air conditioning. Obviously, there's music playing in the loudspeakers. What is the environment like, and what is the technology behind Instantly Relevant?
Yeah, and we get this question a lot of how do you do it, right? How do you make sausage? And it's pretty simple. So we keep a pretty lean team, and the reason we can do that is we leverage an incredible amount of AI, incredible amount of technology out there for every customer. So our teams, everything's human led, to be very clear. And so we have a globally dispersed team for the purposes of labor arbitrage, outsourcing, for diversity, for tonality. There's a whole reason we can talk about why we do that specifically, but just to give the customers different voice, different perspectives when we create content or manage or engage. So there's a handful of people, but they're all technology enabled. So we use a bunch of AI writing tools. We use our own access to these things. We leverage a bunch of things for curation or plagiarism or tonality checks. In meetings like this, we leverage things that grab highlights from the videos and summarize it and then help us write articles and blogs. We do a bunch of technology to really accelerate the content creation, the engagement time, and the nurturing structure, all human-led, enabled, and accelerated by people. I say that because, no customer cares that we use technology, but what they do care about is getting really good content, really good engagement, ongoing nurturing at a really good value point for pricing, where they don't feel like they have to do it. They don't have to worry about it, but they know they're getting more of it faster and it's really good. That's what they care about, to do it behind the scenes, making sausage. Our teams know how to leverage it. We know how to leverage the right people, the right moment. We know how to scale. So we don't have 200-300 people. We have a handful of people that can deliver for many, many clients, because we know how to leverage the tech plus people plus their business goals alignment all at once.
Okay. And is that the future of content creation, you think?
Content creation today, if you're doing it at scale, does involve leveraging technology to improve it, curate it, create it for a very long time. And I'm saying, like, a human's always going to be involved, because you're writing to another human, not to another machine. That's not how. There's some degree of content that is written for machine purposes, like SEO and other things. A machine picks that up with the idea of trying to drive traffic. What happens on a machine-to-machine type of level of content, it seems very generic, flat, doesn't feel authentic. It feels like me too. It's not very good. When you write things in authentic voice or in real use, you can use technology to do that, but you need a human to kind of create the charisma of it. And I think that is the future, is our humans being enabled by technology, not replaced by it.
Awesome. Very well said. So I have a really curious question. Like, I'm curious about this, right? On my Instagram and on YouTube, right, I get what are called bot comments, right? And I can tell just looking at the generic nature of things, right? So how do you guys differentiate with that?
I mean, we don't use bots, don't recommend it. It'll kill your metrics. Sometimes you can get bots banned or bots followed, which really destroys some of your metrics. To really respond, you have to really understand what the content was that you're looking at, viewing, listening to, whatever it is, and reply in a way that's relevant to that image, to that video, to that article, to the description. And when you do that, that actual real content that has like meaning and purpose, and it's not, one that you've used a bunch of times or it's clearly repetitive in some kind of like bot way, those actually really work to help get your content reshared. to be noticed. And when people read it, they'll know it's a real comment versus nice post or great video. Like, even if you wrote that for real, it's a worthless comment. Just don't even do it. Like, just if you're going to do a comment, really say great post because I really thought this was nice because, or ask a question like, why did you think this? I never thought it that way. I always put some thought into it. If you like, great share, not that you shouldn't do it occasionally if you really don't know what to say and you're just saying, but as an idea of if you're going to create engagement, do it with authenticity and actual caring to drive a conversation on social media or where have you, not just reply like a bot.
I like that. Don't reply like a bot. Yeah.
Do not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the line for the day for myself. All right, perfect. Moving on, one thing you've touched on is your team. So how many people do you have presently working on your team?
Yeah, so we have a handful, let's say 5 full-time people that really help coordinate an extended team of probably between 20 and 50, depending on the volume or what the tasks are. So when people work with us, they get a whole marketing team. It's just how they need it when they need it. So it's, if you need sales decks, it's a different group. If you need videos created or edited, that's a different group. If you need your podcast produced, that's it. If you just need someone to manage your social media, take your content, repost it, it's a kind of different group. So we align teams at the right moments. It's transparent to the customer. At the same time, it's just as needed. So they get the stuff done as we recommended and as we've agreed to go do. How we leverage it in the background is based on availability, skill set, and need.
Okay, perfect. So in terms of leadership, right? We hear this thrown around quite a bit. We have different leaders in their field, and this person is a leader in their space, etc. So in terms of organizational leadership, like, what is your style of leading your teams?
Oh, that's a good question. So I lead, I don't think of anyone working for me. I just look at us all working together. That for one, I empower absolutely people to make decisions and solve problems themselves. If anybody comes to me ever with a problem, I'll be like, what is your proposed solution to this problem? So I want people to think creatively, independently, act in good faith, always act in the customer's interest, and replicate that kind of feeling of we actually care, like we actually really give a. And if you do that and you lead by example and you enable people to grow and be honest with them of how you're doing this, it works. So I do it through mentoring. I do it through by example, and I do it through actually caring about the people we hire. There's a rule for us to bring you on as part of our team. You have to be replicated from somebody else on the team. So we don't hire typically anybody. They are vetted humans who have a whole proving point, and there's a whole piece we do with this, but it's done through a very caring, fun working environment. So as an organization, like, we immediately went to 4-day work weeks. And so everybody on the team gets a day off. So that gives them basically 52 days off a year relative to other corporations, if you will. If they need time, they do it. Get your work done when you do it. Don't drop the ball on the customer ever. But if you need to go spend a few hours with your kids at the beach, or go to see a play, or hit a doctor, I don't care. Go do it. I'm not going to question it. Just get your stuff done. Get it done for the customers. Do it really well, and take time to go live and enjoy life in a true work-life balance that's closer to 50-50 than not this work endlessly for 5 days a week and ask for your vacation and beg for it. We don't do that. We're have time with your family, have time to relax, decompress, so you can go all out when you are working.
That is awesome. And I do believe that is also the future of work.
Absolutely.
As we're
no
going
question
forward.
about it. Get rid of vacation. Just give people 3-day weekends, and outside of the, hey, do you mind if I take a week or two for my family to go, whatever? And sure, right? Like, people who abuse it, screw them. We need laws to get rid of them and not let them do that, right? Because there are a lot of people who would, but giving somebody, over time, by the way, if that became normal, then people would want something different, right? But the truth of the matter is, if you can function on a 4-day work week, not all services and not all companies, not all things can do that. I believe that is absolutely a great way to allow people to have more time with family and friends and for themselves, so they don't hate work after 6 months, a year, 2 years, or whatever. Like, they actually enjoy what they have because they have time to be flexible to live. And I think it's so important. I just can't, I know we're getting on tangent, but I'm so passionate about that. As a guy who's never been promoted, ever.
Well, You are promoting a great work environment for your employees, and that's awesome. And another thing you said that, you know what, they can go ahead and enjoy that extra time off as long as they don't drop the ball on their customers, right? Because ultimate, service to the customer, relationship management, that's the key. So speaking of customers, tell us some of the success stories that you have with your customers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the customers, so I'm one of the success stories. We'll hold that one to last because that sounds too self-serving. But we have a large-scale unicorn technology company that we are, they have a full marketing team. I mean, they do some crazy stuff. But what we do for them as a success story is we fill the cracks on the high volume stuff they never have time to do. Writing about the future of work, writing about being a good leader, women in the workplace, like women leaderships, diversity, include. We do a bunch of little blogs, little things to help them build their executive eminence and presence, and not always talk about their technology and their work. So that's what happens a lot of times with companies. They talk about themselves too much and they forget the customer voice of who's buying, who's in their employees, who are their employees, what they want to read about their own company. So we help them fill that gap every month. I think it's a great success because the leader of that organization, he recognized they needed it and he brought us in to go fill that gap. So I give kudos to him to having the vision to say, we have to do this, but we have no resources to do it. How do we do it? And so we were the ones they selected for that. Another one is there's a marketing leader we have with a company that's their technology. Let's just say it this way: you pass through it every time you go through an airport. All right, so they own the technology and many airports globally and other security-based things. We're helping her team augment all the time, where they're getting all the posts, all the social media done, and she's allowed now to work on higher value activities. So if she had not hired us, she would have to do all the posts, all the social media, across 3 brands of this company, and her entire life would be tasks. It would be hand-on plow stuff that we take care of. Because of this, the success is now she can focus on events, higher value activities, thought leadership articles for her executives, executive presence and eminence of the actual company itself out there. So she gets to do the bigger things as a marketing lead that she would never had time for, or budget. She would never have had budget to do all the things she wants to do. Now she can do it with herself and a small team, and then us enabling them at scale. So that's a big one. My own personal one, I used to be 30 hours a week, like I said, in social media. I used to have about 8,000 followers or so. Now I'm like 172,000 on LinkedIn. Going down to 1 hour in social media a week has freed up tons of time for me to do amazing podcasts like this, videos, and really work for my customers almost hand in hand, where I could become part of their fractional CMO team and really get in the weeds. If I had not set it up that way, the customers we have wouldn't have the value add of go-to-market and advisory and other like creative thinking. I would have been too busy doing things for the company. So even just getting myself out of that is a success for it, for sure. And we've enabled our customers to have millions in revenue opportunities based on the content we've created and the social media engagement we've had. We've helped companies save hundreds of thousands in hiring costs by being the marketing partner and team that they could never have hired at scale, but they have the full access and capability of that team they could never have hired.
Awesome. A lot of great things you've done for your clients so far, and obviously you're going to take it forward. So a couple of different things before we end today. One of the first things I wanted to talk about was your YouTube channel, ainerd. I have watched some of the videos. They're different in terms of the message that you have. You're talking about technology, a lot of different things. So how did the YouTube channel come about?
Yeah, so ainerd was it was born out of somewhat boredom. So I owned ainerd.com. And there's a lesson to be learned here I'll talk about. But ainerd was I used to travel all the time for work, meet people, conferences. And during COVID, that it went all away, right? So now you're at home, you're not meeting anyone. And I really enjoy the networking aspect of life. And so I started a channel because I own ainerd to be like, hey, I'll be the AI nerd. And because I love that technology. I've leveraged it for years in business and consulting. And I said, I'm just going to interview other AI nerds. And I did this as an idea just to kind of get out there, just start talking and enjoying doing what I did maybe in person, but just do it over a medium like YouTube. So we've evolved it. Here's the lesson learned, though. It's growing pretty good, and it does fun to go promote people, but it doesn't do very well anymore because I did a fundamental mistake that I learned about a year and a half ago that we're now correcting, is I got it too broad. I brought too many founders on that weren't AI centric. I brought too many people around doing business or entrepreneurship that have nothing to do with AI. And when you do that, as advice to anybody, be incredibly specific on your podcast or your YouTube channel. Otherwise, the algorithms don't know how to go share it. Your audience doesn't watch it because it's not now what you said it was, which was AI. And then your channel starts getting flat. So as we speak right now, we're literally AI Nerds doing an overhaul to be AI only, bigger problems, bigger, like really niched again. And then we've actually launched a new podcast called Instantly Relevant Startup Stories, where we're bringing on founders to talk about their journey, what they can teach other founders, how they raise money, technologies they leverage, their, all the things around being a founder so other founders can learn from it. And we're taking the people that were doing that maybe on AI Nerd, and we're being very focused on the Instantly Relevant Startup Stories podcast. So we're going to separate it and create a whole channel with that. Coming soon in late 2022.
Perfect. So I guess the final thing that I wanted to know from you is obviously the future of AI. You have done a lot of work on this already. So share with us your thoughts about the future.
First of all, thank you. But I will tell you, I'm an enthusiast. If I look at the real AI nerd experts who understand machine learning and algorithms and people who've really implemented this and built COEs, they are truly the experts. I am an enthusiast. When I interview them, they're the smart person in the room. I'm the smart ass. So I add humor with it. But here's the future of AI. It'll continue to be, AI will absolutely continue to be everything we can't do in technology, everything we can't do yet. So that's how people will continually look at AI. In reality, when AI or a technology that claims to be AI is focused on a very narrow, deep, big problem, it will really accelerate business and technology. The use of business and technology to accelerate humans and process. That's where it's fantastic, is when it does things at incredible speed with incredible compute power to solve a very narrow, deep problem. AI is wonderful. And that's going to be the future of AI, is lots of narrow, deep solutions and techniques, if you will, that solve those types of problems. And then the ability to put a wrapper around it to make it look like it's one system. So almost like a plug and play of ways to solve multiple problems with multiple technologies. But the AIs that are built are specifically built for purpose. They are narrow and deep.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm waiting for the day that Terminator shows up on my neighborhood street, and we have a conversation about his plans for the day. Perfect. Thomas, how would people find you?
Yeah, there's a few ways. I always encourage people, if they want to talk about what they're doing in their business and they want to learn about, how to eliminate that time suck and financial sinkhole, traditional cliche marketing, you go to calendly.com/instantly relevant. If you need to kind of see what we do and look, we have instantly-relevant.com is fine. You can also find my Calendly from that. And if you're on LinkedIn, just search for Thomas ainerd Helfrich, connect with me, and I'll connect with you, and I'll likely find time to talk to you. One of the keys, by the way, if you're out there, is when you network with somebody, always find one person you can introduce them to. I'll do the same with you today. After we get off the air here, I'll figure out who I need to introduce you to next. That's how I built a big network. And it's any one piece of advice I can have people take away is when you meet with somebody, your only intent initially should be, how can I introduce them to one person that's going to help them?
Yeah. I have actually heard that before from someone I consider an expert networker. And his objective always is that every time he leaves a conversation, he tries to solve a problem by introducing that person to other people that they may know. So the thing is that you're very much within that realm. So thank you so much for your time today, Thomas. I do appreciate that. All the links will be in the description below. So please reach out and learn more about AI-empowered technology to solve any kind of content creation problems that you may have in your business. Thank you so much again for your time, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.